Welcome. This is a Do the Talk podcast. It is your real estate podcast where we discuss how to invest in real estate and making investments in real estate seamless as much as possible. I am your host, Ahmed, and my co-host here today is Ibrahim Ojanide. Um, Ibrahim, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Today is another day, and it's snowing real bad out there. And we want to say everybody to be careful while you're going back home or you're going to work. Today the weather is terrible, and there are a lot of cars, vehicles sliding off the road. We definitely want you to be safe. And as you get home, tune up
Mhm.
to do the top podcast and learn and grow with us. So anything concerning real estate, that's what we do here. Today, we want to talk about a very fantastic topic. We are not here to scare you. We just want to educate you about this topic. Um, First of all, I want to remind us that real estate, it's not get rich quick scheme. We've always been saying this. You have to put in the work, and um, real estate will take care of you if you are consistent and dedicated. Be passionate about it, do it, and learn as you go. Today we are looking at a topic. You know it is foreclosure, and how homeowner can navigate and um, be able to get out of it without with or less harm. You know, without or less harm. I should say that. So
Absolutely.
yeah. Um, so I want to start by saying foreclosure typically is when a borrower or the owner of the house stop paying their mortgage. Now, there are a lot of factors. There are a lot of reasons why this may happen, but that's the bottom line. If you stop paying your mortgage for a long period of time, they say it's like 90% or 99%, the bank will try to foreclose the property. Um, Before I get into what may cause that foreclosure or what may um, trigger that individual to stop paying, because there are a lot of factors, there are a lot of reasons. But I wanted to understand that foreclosure is not like no bank is out there trying to just foreclose your property. Um, they are trying to get their money back. That's why when they foreclose, at least to recover whatever amount they can get. Because the fact is, m- a lot of times they don't get their actual money back. They probably get less than what they are anticipating. So foreclosure is not a sweet game for them. Um, so now let me go to how this terrible incident, because it's terrible for a lot of family when it happens to them, and very emotional, and it's very demoralizing, and very devastating for everyone, and we don't pray for that. And so we just want to tell you that this is something you need to be aware of. That way you can find a way to avoid it, or when if it eventually happened to you, there's a way out. So let me start by saying these factors are something that sometimes it's hard to control. It's hard to really see it coming sometimes, and there are some that you can control it. um, I'm gonna go into four major ones. There are a lot of it, like I said, but I want to go into four that sometimes is very hard to control. But you coming to, like you learning from us today, you can find a way out for sure. But without you having the basic knowledge in real estate or how to navigate foreclosure, it will be tough and it will be hard for you to kind of get away from this. So the first one is unemployment or sudden job loss. Now, unemployment, I mean, in the US, if you are, you are ND, or you have some just high school degree or diploma or GED, and you are ready to work, you can control that, because averagely there, the unemployment index is very low in the US. So my point is there are a lot of jobs out there. So you can control that. Now, the sudden job loss, that might be a big one for some individuals, just because if I'm working in a big company and I'm a specialist, I'm a professional that I'm getting high income, and you know I have a lot of responsibility because I make a very decent amount of money, and technically I'm living almost to the standard of my income. We don't support that on Do the Talk podcast. We prefer, and we've always been saying that we have to live a way where you have cash flow, you have assets, you have savings, you have all that. But anyway, for this explanation, um I'm just gonna focus on this foreclosure stuff. So if you live to like way beyond, I shouldn't say beyond your means, but you are living almost, you are leveraging out all your income on your vehicle, your house, your um amenities in your home and everything. Now, and there's a sudden job loss just because of the company feels like they don't need you no more, or the economy is not doing well. It might affect you because not only that you have a mortgage to pay, you do have a car to pay, you do have a other bills, other responsibility, other commitment that you've involved in. Before the job loss, that it wasn't a problem because you're making good income. Now, because you're a specialist, because your job is kind of well designed, where it's not just everywhere, you cannot just see it everywhere. You have to, it's a process. You have to apply, you have to go to some training, you have to show some certification. It might take you some time to get another job that will pay you up to that level. Now, because of that, you might be behind on your mortgage. I mean, we are painting a scenario here. We are not saying you in particular. We're saying this may cause someone to be behind on their mortgage. And with mortgage, after 3 months, if you don't pay your mortgage, they'll send a letter out to let you know this is 90 days. It's like a warning 90 days, um, in general. They send a letter out. And after that, they will send another one the next month to let you know, okay, now it's getting serious. Now we have to go to another stage. Okay. So before you know it, within 3 to 6 months, the lender will call the house you know, to go pre or start the real foreclosure. Now, another thing that might cost it this, and this is out of anyone's power, which is disability. Someone who is healthy, hardworking, dedicated, and everything. And one day you're driving, and it might not even be your fault. Somebody, a trailer or semi, just ran into your car and all that, and God willing, you survived it. However, that individual is, maybe paralyzed or something. That one is tough. It's hard to really control that. Okay, that individual, because he or she does not have a mortgage insurance. I don't mean PMI. I mean, like, there's
I
another
don't know if you guys remember
insurance out
a
there,
few months ago.
like a third party insurance that you can join. You can participate in, where you pay every month. Those kind of insurance might help you in this situation. But let's say that individual does not have it. After the same 3 6 months that I talked to you about, the lender will try to call the loan to foreclosure or pre foreclosure, just because they are in the business of lending money. They are not really an hospital or anything. You know, they if you have a disability and all that, they'll give you some grace. However, they still need their money back. Okay, so medical bills, the same. It kind of work in hand. Someone who has disability may have a lot of medical bills, and those medical bills, it might come to a point where you feel like I'd rather get my medicine, I'd rather buy my drugs to be well, than worrying about mortgage. After all, property is just property. My health is more important. So all those very critical and unforeseen situation might put someone into foreclosure. The next one is divorce. This is very, emotional and all that. Divorce can be so, um, very disturbing, and it can destroy the family and everything. It's very um, demoralizing and all that. So divorce it's very large and complicated. But my point here is that during divorce, the family may stop paying their mortgage, and you know and the bank will call the loan for to be foreclosed. I mean, the property to be foreclosed. Another one is sudden relocation. So let's say you work in New York, things are going well. All of a sudden, the company was sold or about to get sold to another company, and that new management is trimming the team is trimming everything down. They lay you off, and or when you foreseeing that this company may not be for you and you have to relocate to another company, or you've applied in another state, you got a good offer and you relocate to another state. However, you've already purchased a property in that state that you were living before. Now you want to sell that property. However, you couldn't sell it maybe because you bought a house in the wrong location, or the economy is not doing well, or you bought a very expensive property, and kind of hard for you to find someone to pay the premium price that you paid for it just because things has changed. So that may affect you. And the fact that you have to pay a mortgage in the new place you're going, or you have to pay rent, it's like you're gonna be doing two at the same time. Because of that, it might affect you. So, and the bank, still after 3 to 6 months, they will start calling the loan due. So what do you do in that situation? So what do you do in that situation? You just have to, work with the bank and see how you can do it. Ahmed, so I've listed out those factors that might lead someone to foreclosure or pre-foreclosure. Many people are saying, okay, well, all these things that are listed, it sounds like it might be out of one's power. You know, i I just give an example. Someone might be driving and a semi run into that person and all that, and disability pops in, and So, how do you think people can get out of this situation? Because it's very terrible, and there's always a way out. We know that. So, we would like you to educate us on what people can do to get out of this or to navigate this. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for, enlightening us on, I mean, some common ways that people find themselves, and as a result of that, leading to a foreclosure on their, most valuable assets, which is their home. There is a sense that when you have a home on your head, like a roof on your head, that your secret is secure, like, right? Because a lot of people will not know what is happening to you, and if you don't want them to know, they won't know. So this is the most valuable asset that a lot of us have. However, it is also at risk when we have any financial issue going on, and it is very, very crucial that we understand how we can pull ourselves out of that situation, because knowledge is power. I've worked foreclosure leads for some time now, and a lot of time, do you know what happened, Ibrahim? When they get a pre-foreclosure letter, which we call list pending letter from the bank, a lot of people just abandon their house and they just walk away and go. This is really, really bad. Maybe because they don't know what the consequence of that is. But yeah, that's where education and listening to podcasts like Do the Talk comes in, to feed us all this information, so that when these issues happen, it can happen to anyone. It has happens to the best of the people. So don't think, oh, this is my fault, or blaming yourself for things. All we have to do is to find a way out. The number one thing to do if you have any loan due is to pay it off. Yes, that is basically what got you into the situation in the first place. You didn't pay. That is how you get there. But if you can pay, the number one thing to do is to pay. Where will the money come from if I have a financial issue? Number one is getting a personal loan on some other assets that you might have so that you can pay that off to bring the arrears to current. Another thing is family and friends, explaining what is going on to them and whatever they can raise for you so that you can bring the money to back to the account back to current. So paying off the bank arrears, the mortgage is number one thing to do when you are in foreclosure. But that is not the always the answer to people's problem because they have been pushed to the wall. That is why they even get default, so they can't even afford to pay. So what are the other options that is available? Just like you mentioned earlier, Ibrahim, banks are not in the business of real estate. They are in the business of lending money and making profits off of that. So bank don't want your house. They do not. I've worked foreclosure. I've seen people that work foreclosure for years now. I can tell you categorically that banks don't want to take your house because when you turn over your house to banks, now the grass, it's now their responsibility. The electricity is now their responsibility. They don't have staff for that. The staff they have is to take care of money. They don't have staff to go and mow your house. They don't have staff to go and make sure the light is on. They don't have staff to go and make sure there's no trash in front of your house and they're going to get citation from the city. They are not ready to be doing all that. So all they want back is their money. How can you go around making sure you get back on track if you cannot pay? Like I said, the number one option is to pay the money back. But how can you go around making sure you get back on track if you don't have that money? The number one thing to do is to reach out to the bank. There's a program in every single bank that do mortgage lending. It's called loan modification. It is called loan modification. So when you call them up, just like credit card or any other loan, when you call them up and you explain what you are going through at the moment, and they've seen your history that you've always paid, they will be willing to work with you and modify that loan for you in such a way that you will be able to continue the payments. Loan modification come with other criteria though. To be able to do loan modification, you must have a job. Because if you don't have a job, how are you going to pay? Even if they cost that money from 3,000 to 200, you might still not be able to afford it. Why? Because you don't have a means of income, right? So the number one rule for loan modification in bank is to make sure that you have a job. Okay, let's say you are a very high income earner, a CEO in a company that is making $80 or $100 an hour before. Now for you to be able to feed your family, you have to go and get a job at Amazon where they pay $20 an hour. That is 5 times smaller than what you have before. All what you need to show the bank is, okay, I'm not where I used to be. This is where I am right now. This is my paycheck. And they are going to modify the loan that you have to accommodate that's your present situation. So they will make sure that the amounts that they are going to be giving you now as your new mortgage payment is going to be at least half of the payments that you are making right now. Let's say you used to make 3,000 every 2 weeks. Now you are only making 700 every 2 weeks, right? In a month, you are making 1,004. Your mortgage, they will moderate your mortgage back to a situation whereby you are paying 3,000 before. Now you will be paying about 700 because that is half of the income that you are bringing home now. So loan modification will do that for you. The other criteria that you need for loan modification. I've stylishly mentioned one of it. You need like two times of the mortgage payments income. So they will work with you on that. Uh, you will need to show a proof of income. You will need to show them that you are actually working to get a loan modification on your mortgage. You will have to prove that you are not owing any taxes. So this is now an extensive scrutinization of when you are trying to get the first loan, because now you have default on their first loan. They will want to scrutinize you and make sure they get the facts right this time, so that you don't go into default on the second loan again. That is just what they are doing. They are not trying to ridicule you or try to belittle you, but what they are trying to do right now is to make sure they give you what a chunk that you can easily bite, not something that will choke you again. So, but the scrutinization is going to be very, very thorough this time. Loan modification is like three times harder than your normal loan. Imagine if you have closed on a house before, you will know what I'm talking when I said normal loan. Until you close on a house, the underwriter will keep coming for asking for all this bunch of stuff. Loan modification, on the other hand, is three times harder. So imagine how that will be. So, but what they are still trying to do is to make sure that they are not giving you a tax that you will not be able to complete again. They are trying to make sure that they assess you properly, and now they are giving you a loan, a monthly payment that will be on your pay, that will be according to the pay that you are getting right now. So those are the things. Another one is so you must not have filed for loan modification in the last year or 2 years. So let's say you default on the first loan, you file it for loan modification, they modify the loan. If you are filing for the second one, they probably going to deny it, because now they are thinking to themselves that, okay, maybe you are just trying to cut down the payment of your loan. So they will not do loan modification twice for you within the space of certain years. If it is like 5 year or more, life situations happen. So it might be that there's a death in the family. Maybe a partner that has been helping you to pay now passed. Now you are back to square one, right? So things like that, they might accommodate it again. But we have to be a very critical situation before they can reaccommodate loan modification again. They don't want to do it twice, because they don't want people to be taking advantage of that process. So if I make sense, so that is why they don't want to do it twice. But I believe they still accommodate it if they find a need for it. So I believe those are most of the criteria when it comes to loan modification. If you are going through a loan modification, there is a loss mitigation department in every bank. They call their department loss mitigation. Those are the people that are calling the shots on your foreclosures, pre-foreclosures, on the process, hiring the lawyer. Those are the guys that are calling the shots. So if you want to speak to the bank, you're not just going to go up front on the counter and speak to someone. Those guys don't know anything about your loan. The people you want to speak to that can actually help you when it comes to loan modification, that department is called loss mitigation. Every bank have a loss mitigation department, from West Vagos, Chase, Morgan Stanley, down to your community bank. They all have loss mitigation departments if they are issuing out mortgage loan. Uh, Another thing is, this is kind of controversial. Some people call this fraud in real estate, but it is an option. So don't quote me on this. I'm not advising you to do it. I'm only giving you options that are open. because some people call this mortgage fraud. So my hand are up and clean. I just want to give you the information that I have so that it will be helpful for you to be able to make proper decision when you are in this situation. So this other one is to file bankruptcy. So there's a chapter 7, I believe, and there's a chapter 13. You need to talk to your lawyer when you want to do this. I'm not an attorney. I'm not going to give you more details into it than what I'm telling you right now. But if you file a bankruptcy, that can defer foreclosure. Hear me. It's not going to stop it. It will delay it. It will give you more time. Let's say you are looking to, okay, this is this is happening around October, November, and by January you'll be able to file your tax return, get some money, pay banks. You can actually use this to defer the process of foreclosing on your house in November until January. It usually delay it between 60 to 120 days for you to gather yourself together. And if you have a good lawyer, you might be able to use it to actually stop the foreclosure. If they know what they are doing, that is a big if. But this tool is there for you to actually delay it until you can get a money that you can use to pay the arrears or finish working with the loss mitigation department of the bank to be able to get you back on track of payment, right? So that is a tool. But like I said, I'm not an attorney. I'm not here to give you uh, any advice that you need to go and get from an attorney. But that is a tool. You will need to consult with one or consult with someone that do real estate that have a knowledge of foreclosure. Like I said, I used to work foreclosure. So if you come to me and that is the route you want to go, I will refer you to some attorney that I've worked with that can help you, you know. But personally, I do not advise it because it can be categorized as a loan mortgage fraud. So moving on, I've mentioned three things actually. Paying off by getting some, bridge loan, borrowing money from your 401k, getting loan from your friend, your family, those are the option number one. Option number two is to reach out to loss mitigation department in the bank for loan modification. Loan modification needs to start 30 days. That is one thing I missed on that part. It needs to start 30 days before the house is actually going to be foreclosed on. If you are within that space, those departments have the power to deny your application for loan modification. So your loan modification, let's say the house is going to be foreclosed on what's today? March 16. Your deadline is today. You need to put in that application today. Give them 30 days to work your application so that they can pull down and make sure they go through all the process, assess your situation again, and stop that foreclosure from happening. Right? So you really need to give them this 30 days time, because if it is within that 30 days, they might not even consider looking at your application. They don't want to waste their time because they might not have enough time to actually process your application. So they might deny you right from the gate. So please, if you are facing foreclosure, speak up immediately. Speak up when you get the letter. Don't delay things. Don't wait till 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 week. The longer you wait, the more tighter your option becomes. That is what I want to point out there. So we discussed reinstating by getting a loan from family friend. We discussed loan modification. We discussed filing a bankruptcy. Sorry. Another option is to actually sell that house. Sell the house. You sell it. Call a real estate agent. You can sell your house as is. You might be like, oh, I have to fix my house up. No, you don't have to. There are people that will buy your house as is. There are people that buy houses cash. That might be an option. This is where wholesalers solve a lot of problem. People always come after wholesaler. Wholesaler are this, wholesalers are that. Uh, some wholesaler, the way they play, it's not fair to homeowner. But at some point, wholesaler always save the day when it comes to this end. Real estate agent can do it as well. So call an expert up. Let them assess your house. Even if you're not going to get a dime after the transaction, it is better than your house going to foreclosure. Even if you are not going to get a dime, give those money out, pay it. Even if it's just 2,000 for you to go and get another house to rent and live for now, it is better than your house being foreclosed on you. Before we get off today, we're probably going to talk on the disadvantage of house being foreclosed on your name. So we're probably going to touch on that, but I don't want to deviate from what I'm talking about right now. So you might have to, reach out to these guys to be able to sell your house, which is option number 4. We are emotionally attached to the house. I am too. I am emotionally attached to my house. When I'm driving into my driveway, I'll be looking as if someone is trying to steal my house. So this thing happens to everybody. No, it is not just you, but at some point you might have to let go. You know, you might have to let go and cut your losses, because that is actually better than you getting foreclosed on. All right, let's move on. The very, 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 very last one is something that a lot of people don't know about. But do you know that you can actually deed your house to someone and they will catch up your arrears and they will keep making your payments? This is called creative financing in real estate. These guys will come in, assess your house, give you some money to reestablish yourself, your life again, something you can spend until you get another job. Take over that mortgage that you have. This is not assumption, by the way. Take over that mortgage, the exact mortgage that you have in place, and they start making payment on your behalf. Well, what is the benefit of this? You will be asking yourself, why will I give my house to someone for free? This is actually, by the way, not for free. They will give you some money, but come to think of it, this mortgage that you are default on, these guys probably already report this on your credit score, and now your credit is probably like in the force of threes, right? So this is good because these guys will catch up the arrears, as well keep making the payments, which will bring your credit from the threes back to 6 or even 7, right? So this is good in that regard. Another thing is, you don't have to foreclose on you. The banks don't have to take the house from you, and this is saving you a lot of stress. Like I said, I'm going to go back to why it is not good to be foreclosed on, but for now, those are the 5 major ways you can escape foreclosure. There is a lot of technicality to them. There's a lot of nuances to them. You need to reach out to experts that knows more about it to be able to walk you through it. The little information that we are going to give you within the space of this 1 hour is not enough for you to tackle it. We actually need to sit down and assess your financial situation and what is going on and what will be the best route for you. So please and please reach out to real estate agent, reach out to Ibrahim. He is a broker that is even well invested in Indianapolis. He knows the market very well. He will be able to advise you on the best route to go. So reach out and we can discuss this. It is very emotional topic. You can see me going a little emotional too, because I've worked with a lot of people and I've seen a lot of situation, a very diverse situation that leads people into this. So nobody's going to judge you, but the earlier you speak up, the better it is to conquer this. The more option you have. When it gets closer and closer, then your option become tighter. Then you don't have option than to sell. You don't have option than to, because the loan modification is not going to work anymore. So the earlier you speak up, the better it is for you. So Ibrahim, I know you discussed earlier the things that can cause foreclosure. How can people actually prevent this from even happening in the first place? I want us to go back and just talk about that before we actually talk about the consequence of foreclosure on their record. You are muted if you are.
Thank you for that. So actually, I forgot I'm muted. So this is a very complex topic because it involves emotion and you know uh someone's you know manhood or lifestyle and everything, because it's like when an individual is going through this, it's like everything is falling apart. That's how it is, because a house that you've been living for some years now, and you have all the roof is actually there to to house and cover your family and everything. Now foreclosure sets in, and it's very devastating. So how do you avoid this? How do you kind of prevent foreclosure? So there are a lot of things that will help you, um, so that you don't run into this. And as I mentioned earlier, there are some stuff that we cannot control as well. But the truth is that we have huge controls. The rate of control that we have is way more than the unexpected and uncontrollable factor. For example, I mentioned that somebody may be driving and run into semi and everything and all that. Okay, first of all, let's look at how many people ran into semi like that something happened to, and use that ratio to compare people that they are okay, nothing ran into them. It's just life situation. When you look at the math or look at the ratio, you realize that the people that run into semi issue are very little. The percentage is very low versus someone who is okay, is healthy and everything, but he or she still face this problem. Where am I getting to? This is where I'm getting to. I'm trying to say that we have a lot of control over our life. I'm not talking about death here. I'm talking about financing, talking about how we manage stuff. Okay. So the first thing is we need to save, save, save. If you make $10 an hour and you are not able to save 50 cents or $1, from that $10, it will be hard for you to save when you are making $100 per hour. Even if it's 10 cent, 20 cent, just create a habit of saving. Okay. Some people, they'll tell you, okay, if you save to one level, use that money and invest. And when you invest um, to a greater level, you don't have to save too much, because now the investment is like a saving as well. Because if something happened, the investment is like a leverage. You can use that to get out of some trouble. For example, we are talking about foreclosure here. If someone has a property, the primary resident, and he or she has stopped paying just because of, something, or maybe and you already invest in, let's say, real estate, and now you stop paying your normal property just because of, the market is not good for you. Now you have two properties or three properties or four properties that you can actually sell one of it to balance off the debt on the other ones, just because of you have equity. So we don't encourage sale or do any kind of business that will affect your long-term goal, because we believe uh, in, um, holding your property. We believe in equity. We believe in the power of leverage. But I'm giving you example to let you know that when you actually invest in real estate or invest, you save and invest, it can help you during the rainy days. Okay, so save, save, save. The second one is to invest that savings, because when you save a lot of money, when you get to a point, you are losing that money if you just keep it in a savings. It's better you invest that money so the money can multiply, and when it multiply, it's like and hopefully you invest it in something that is producing cash flow. like money is coming in. Let's play the same scenario with someone who is, you know, suddenly become disabled. That person, let's say the person have 5 properties. The person has one he is living in with his family. 4 other properties cash flowing $500 a month each. Okay, that's $2,000 that is coming in. Okay, cash flow after the maintenance, this, that, da, 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 da. Cash flow $2,000 a month. Now, this person mortgage, worst case scenario. Okay, let's go to the worst one. The person mortgage is $2,000. Okay, so now this person couldn't work. However, is getting $2,000 cash flow every month. If you do the math, he is not in a safer side. However, it's still better than someone that has nothing, because now the 2,000 can cover the mortgage. However, we call that over leverage, because now the 2,000 is exactly the same thing with the mortgage. Now, let's say something happened, then he might be in trouble. But at least this person is better off than someone who has no investment, who has nothing. And in that, in that, if such a person run into the same incident, he won't be able to pay at all. But this one has 2,000 that is coming in. And by the way, if this person should able to get like social security or disability or all that, it's like all those extra money is just gonna be like a extra fund that this person can use to make sure things are going well for him and his family. So investment, it's really big. Like you have to save and invest that money. And by the way, I'm just giving you a normal and just basic scenario, because if I want to give you the real like the possibility of saving, the power of cash flow and everything, it's possible that this individual I'm talking about has like 10, 20 properties, because he or she has invested a lot, and now he or she does not even have to worry about the $2,000, because the cash flow that is coming is about 5, 10, 20,000. It can be any amount. But I intentionally use the same 2,000 just to let you know that, even if it's the same amount of money, you are still better off than someone who has nothing, or
Absolutely.
someone who keeps his or her money in the bank just sitting there. Of course, that same individual will have like the 10,000 or 20,000 to pay the mortgage for a few years, and that's it. He or she will run out of the, if it's $2,000 a month, that's like 10 months. That's it. But mind you, someone who has investment property getting $2,000 cash flow, getting equity every month, is better off than someone who just keep the money in the bank. So my point is, save and invest your money. When you do that, if there's a high chance that will help you during the raining day, because um, we all don't pray for this, but things happen. Now, another one, how do you get out of, no, how do you prevent this? Is to learn and learn and learn. I may just mention some stuff, some other ways to get out of foreclosure, or to even prevent it from happening. If you have learned that, okay, you have to save your money, you have to invest your money, then you are like 2 steps ahead of people that don't know or any of this. Because now you've learned to save, you've learned to invest. Knowledge is power. So those 3 factors will boost you and probably prevent you from running into foreclosure. Another thing is, you have to be, uh, you know, very responsive. When I mean responsive, when you see your bill, something happened, you can't pay next month. What do? Very careful and responsive. Call the bank, talk to them, let them know, okay, this is what's going to happen.
Yep.
I couldn't pay this month because of this, because of that. I just lost my job. Right now I'm working towards another job. Or they call you that, okay, your payment is late. And talk to them, pick up the phone and let them know your current situation and tell them your plan, what you are doing to prevent this from after the late payment, what you are trying to do to make the payment and also prevent any late payment, any further late payment. Okay, so you have to be ready to pro um, you have to take responsibility and make sure you are very responsive. Another one is to so this one is not really foreclosure, but it's still part of the what we are talking about. You have to, let's say you couldn't pay your homeowner association bill. Let's say you couldn't, pay your local taxes, your property taxes and all that. You have to really call them and let them know, because HOA will not really foreclose your house, but they will auction the house. It's still similar, but at the end of the day, what they are doing is they want to get their money back. So some demographics, they don't run too, most of the time they don't run into a lot of foreclosures, but they run into auctioning just because after they pay their mortgage, they feel like it's done. That's it. There's nothing else to pay beside mortgage. However, the HOA is still something you are required to pay. So make sure you pay all your bills. That's the first solution. That's the first thing you have to do. That's the easiest way to get out of it. Pay your mortgage. However, if you couldn't do that, you have to go, you have to take one of the steps that are made already outlined, because those are the steps that will get you out of the problem. Ahmed, so through this prevention of foreclosure, it's not that like there are not too many options, but to you know save and invest and spend your money right, technically, because you can be investing your money. However, when the cash flow comes, you wasting the money. Then that means you are not really leveraging your money well. You are not using your investment income properly. So my point is that they are just you just have to save and invest and use that investment right. That way you don't run into this kind of problem. There's one more thing I did not mention. Sorry, is to live according to your situation. You know, it still kind of work with like save that I'm talking, because if you don't live according to your situation, you won't be able to save anyway. So at the end of the day, whatever we make, we have to utilize it very well and see how we can make the best out of it. You know, we have to be able to increase our income by either investing it, save it and invest it so you can get a better cash flow. So Ahmed, now what are the consequences? Let's say someone has been working, he or she did not save, he or she did not invest. Now he or she has run into foreclosure, and he or she, instead of following the normal route, he or she ignored the bank letter, stop talking to the bank, being irresponsive and all that, just because he or she is scared or not knowing what to do. How can What are the consequences? Yeah.
Absolutely, Ibrahim. Thank you for advising us on how to even avoid getting into foreclosure in the first place. As easy as it sounds, it is something that it can get to a point that you will look back and be like asking, "How do I get here?"
Yeah.
And this is not to say you are someone that mismanage your fund. It happens to the best of the people. You will be surprised how many people that are getting into this situation, and you see them driving nice cars and all that. They don't want to be there, but life happen. People lose their job, divorce,
Mhm.
partners. I've seen people whereby they buy the house together, and all of a sudden the partner just be like, you know what, we promise we're going to be paying this together, but the way you are behaving right now, I don't understand you. The partner just walk away. Things like that happen. So it's not your fault. It's nobody's fault.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that when life happens like that, we have to respond to it.
Yeah.
And part of that response is what Ibrahim mentioned. As simple as that is, you will be surprised how many people are avoiding banks call, which is what you need to do. Even before they call you, you probably need to reach out to them and get yourself back into, telling them what is going on so that they are aware, they can note it down, and they can work with you when the time comes. So there are things that happens. A lot of people just think, okay, well, they're just going to foreclose and take their houses from me, and that is it. That is not it. If you know what is even after that, you probably will not even let the foreclosure go through, which is what I'm going to be telling you now. There's a very severe consequence for defaulting and getting foreclosed on. There are severe consequences for defaulting and getting foreclosed on. So that's all, the bank is just going to take the house back and that is it. That is not it. For good 7 years, for good 7 years, you will not be able to qualify for any mortgage loan for good 7 years. 7 years might look small to some people, but when you are actually within that 7 years and you want to make a life move and you can't, that is where you're going to know that okay, that 7 years is a lot. For good 7 years, you will not be able to get a car loan, literally any loan. Let's just put it that way. For good 7 years after foreclosure. For good 7 years. So now this is where it gets really, really crazy. You might think, okay, they're just going to take their house back, then I'm going to run back to their apartment. For good 7 years, you will not be able to qualify on an apartment. Your name will not be able to show because no apartment will give you their house knowing that you just default on the loan that someone trusts you with. So it's not just that, oh, it's just going to happen and that is it. No, that is not it. That is why I say when the life happens, talk to people so that you can walk yourself out of it. You probably will be able to keep your house if you respond in a timely manner. You probably will be able to retain your house. So another one is some jobs, when they see foreclosure on your record, all this is for 7 years. They are not going to even hire you. So the coming from a financial hardship, going into not being able to qualify for mortgage, qualify for car loan, being able to get an apartment, not being able to get a job, how are you going to be able to pull out? So it's not going to just be they taking back their house. It's going to get worse from there. That is why you don't even let it happen. It is better for it not to happen. And if the worst case scenario comes, I'm going to tell you a simple way to get out of it now. After this, let me finish this. For good 7 years, bills collectors, people, because now the bank have cut their losses, they're going to sell all the remaining loans to collectors. Those collectors are going to be calling you day and night because they want to make their money back. They already invest in your loan. Yeah. So these are severe, in my opinion. To some people, it might not. In my opinion, it is a severe action that I wouldn't want to go near. I wouldn't want it to happen to my enemy, not to talk of myself. So easy way is you can actually deed the house back to the bank. We call it deed in lieu of foreclosure. Instead of them foreclosing on you, you deed the house back to the bank. But like I said, we are all emotionally attached to our houses. So it is not something, it is not a decision that is easy for us to make. And especially when you are solving your own problem, it becomes a lot harder. But when someone is solving your problem, it becomes easy because they can think in their right mind, full concentration. They they are not being, oh, I have to do this, I have to do this. Oh, I'm default on this loan as well. I haven't paid my bills. They are in their right mind. We are probably not in our right mind. If I'm in foreclosure, I will be terrified as hell. I will be very, very terrified because it's a very terrible situation to be. Nobody, I don't even pray for my enemy. But this is some real life situation right here. People go into foreclosure every single. You will be surprised. There's a reason why we are doing this today, actually. There's a reason why we are doing it. So you will be surprised how often this happen. But when they happen, knowledge is power. If you know or you work with someone that knows, like I said earlier, Ibrahim sell houses, every time. This is what you do. He can help. He have the resources to call on to help when these things happen. That doesn't mean, okay, I'm calling Ibrahim to sell my house. No, that is not it. You are not calling him to sell your house. You are calling him for him to advise you on way forward, right? So these are real life situations that's, and like I said earlier, this is not to judge anyone. It happens to the best of the people. You will be surprised the kind of people that this happens to. But when life happens, it is better to share knowledge with people that knows, people that are. I've never experienced foreclosure myself, but guess what? I've worked with tons of people that I've been in foreclosure. There are people that we have been able to, help out, and there are people that we just have to tell them, hey, man, let's sell this house, get you know the little amount you can get, and run with it. So this, let me quickly run through the five method that I mentioned earlier. The first one is actually getting a personal loan, your friend, family to actually pay, bring your loan back. The second one is to reach out to loss mitigation departments. Every single bank that do mortgages have loss mitigation bank departments and do a loan modification. Bankruptcy, I do not advise it. It can be categorized as a mortgage fraud, but it is a tool you can use when you are in this situation. Number four, call an agent. Call an wholesaler, call people that can actually sell this house for you and give you some cash to go and set up your life. You don't want to find yourself in this situation again. Another one is creative financing. People are going to take over your loan and make payments on them and bring your credit back to life. So those are the method you can, use quickly and get yourself back on track. Ibrahim, any final word before we go tonight?
Yes. So, I mean, you've said it all. Just seek help from people that are, real estate professional. If you see an investor, seek out, because the truth is that it's better they buy your property and you get some money, you go your way, the bank goes their way, and nothing affect your credit, your ability to buy another house is not embittered or destroyed just because you are responsive. I intentionally and I purposely mentioned that word because responsiveness can, it goes a long way, and it's gonna help prevent or even lessen the terrible disaster or the terrible aftermath of foreclosure. Because when you are very responsive, you will be able to reach out to people right away and see how you can get help before your house even get foreclosed.
Yep.
Okay. The good thing is you are watching on Do the Top podcast. You have two great men here. Ahmed is an investor. He can tell you exactly what to do. There are some, situation. It depends on your financial situation. It depends on the equity you have. It depends on how quickly you want to get out of this. but I'm pretty 100% sure he will tell you a way to get out, like something that works for you and it works for you in your situation. So you have to reach out. I mean, how can they reach out to you if they want to reach out and see how they can get help?
Yeah, uh, you can reach me 317 240 7075. Quickly before I go, also my handle is on the screen, official Ahmed Lawal. This is a very critical topic.
Yes.
Please go back and watch the full episode and also share this with your friend. You never know who is having
You
this tough
never know.
time. You never know who will be, benefiting from this. Share this video with your friend so that they can know, they even have the knowledge. It doesn't matter if you are in foreclosure right now or
Or not.
not.
Hmm.
If you have the knowledge, when the time arises, the way you will respond, it will be different from someone that doesn't know what to do.
Definitely. Definitely.
So please and please share this. Ibrahim, if people want to reach out to you as an expert, if they are facing this kind of issue, how can they reach you?
Yeah, they can reach me at IB Rotos. Just go there. You can DM me on Instagram, um, or you can email me, Ibrahim at ibrotos.us. Um, Pretty easy. Just reach out and we can go from there.
Absolutely. Guys, until next week, peace.
Take care.